All right, I'm starting to give it 5.
Good afternoon and welcome to XBE Thrive Series, the service line micro of the tiered vetted bench. My name is Jim Bell with the Diversity Consortium. Appreciate you being here with us today on a nice Wednesday afternoon. I want to spend the first couple of minutes as we start talking about the Diversity Consortium, just to let you know who we are. The Diversity Consortium is a diverse supplier advocacy group working with both corporate organizations and disadvantaged business enterprises of all types. We call them XBEs to improve the landscape of the supplier diversity world. We work with corporations to help in the areas of program development and execution, socioeconomic measurement and messaging, and working with XBEs on capacity development and resourcing. So again, I thank you and appreciate you being here today. The Diversity Consortium, just to let you know a little bit about us, we are a confederation of 25 diverse consulting supply organizations that are focused on improving that landscape in the supplier diversity world. We, as a group, all are in the business and have been for decades, have thousands of referenceable clients and hundreds of employees. We have about $1 billion worth of working capital to help XBE companies grow. As we into the market, meet their objectives and help have the resources and tools they need to be successful. As we go and offer services both upmarket to the corporations, dealing with the Fortune 1000 in the area of strategy development and collaboration, program management and execution, outreach, onboarding, and management of XBEs, and ultimately communications to the stakeholders of corporations. In the XBE world, we help with coaching and mentoring training programs, technology, resourcing, and research work to help define the markets in which they play and to be more profitable as they run. Today, we're going to be dealing in the area of coaching, mentoring, and certification, dealing with the topic of the tiered vetted bench. Several of our partners work in collaboration to help bring this service line to fruition. Smartagies is a marketing organization that helps in the areas of does an organization have the marketing tools and systems necessary to be found by corporate America and be able to effectively tell their story. Dobbins International is a training organization that helps organizations to grow through coursework and application activities to be able to help them develop and be ready for corporate opportunities. TPCG Research is an organization that helps organization define the marketplace, and the Collaborative Work Environment, the CWE, is an organization that helps to create the databases so that organizations can see how they play from a benchmark performance perspective. Today in this XBE development series, we're going to be working with the topic of how can an XBE enhance their visibility to corporations. And this is really trying to improve their opportunity, one, to participate and be successful in RFP and opportunity pursuits. Just a bit of housekeeping for today. We are using Teams as the platform in which to do this webinar today. So in your dashboard, you'll see or have a variety of controls for volume and other things associated with the platform. There is a panel for which you can ask questions or make comments on the right-hand side, and we would ask that you do use that panel, one, to respond to any of the survey questions that come, and if any questions or clarifications that you have or need, if you'll just type them in there, and the back of house production folks will bring it on air for us so that we can deal with those issues. So to start our session today, what I'd really like to do is just better understand the audience. So this has been sent to diverse business enterprises. We'd be interested in your makeup. Is your business a minority business? Is it a woman-owned business or a disabled? If you could just provide that for us and let us know if you're certified, yes or no. We're going to give you a couple of seconds to be able to do that, and we'll be able to summarize. Through the questions that we asked today and any of the survey activity that goes on, we'll provide a full list of answers and an email response afterwards. Anybody that we don't get to your question while on air today, do just send in a note and we'll make sure that you get a full list. Sorry, with the number of folks that we have on a session like today, sometimes it's hard to get to all the questions, but we do appreciate you asking, so we want to get the answers to you. We are joined today by a couple of panelists, Sharon McGee, who is the founder and president of SLMN Enterprises. Sharon joins us recently with the Charleston International Airport as the head of their diversity program. She left at the beginning of this year to start her own firm in HR support and resources. So she's going to be telling us a little of her adventure and journey and moving out into a new business in the XBE world. And Randall Dobbins, who is the founder and president of Diversity Works. Randall brings to the Diversity Consortium about 120 training modules, typically in 20 to 30 hours of content, made up of 4 or 5 modules of 5 to 6 hours apiece. So this training and certification program really help organizations prepare themselves for understanding the market and how to respond to RFPs, how to be successful and to improve their productivity. So we'll be hearing from those guys a little later as we get into some of the question and answer sessions. Just wanted to provide a little bit of information about SLMN. Sharon and I met earlier this year. She's a dynamic woman, has had a ton of experience as it relates to corporate operations and trying to deploy a corporate level diversity program from almost a non-activity within their organization. It became important to her stakeholders, so they built and rolled out a program that was renowned across that industry of the airports and fixed-based operations and city operations for airports. I think when she comes on, she's going to tell us a bit of story about that and some of the challenges that she had in finding and developing the partners that she ultimately worked with. Diversity Works has been around for about 15 years. Randall came out of corporate America, worked for some of the largest companies in the U.S., found himself in a spot that felt like he could bring a unique value proposition and went out on his own in 2004. And since has trained an impressive list of both corporate and XBE organizations over the years, trying to really chase his passion of improving the landscape inside that diversity supply chain world. Some of the things that we're going to cover today is the XBE landscape itself, what's going on in that market. We're going to talk a little bit about the numbers of XBEs and disadvantaged businesses that are out there and the certification process and why and how people get certified. We're going to talk a little bit about the state of the diversity programs within the corporate entities that we interact with. We're going to talk a little bit about what we've seen as some of the stated challenges that XBE owners are having in their businesses today, particularly on the backside of the COVID situation over the last year and a half. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the markets and what those markets are looking for in a variety of different ways. Then we're going to kind of get into the area of the tiered vetted bench. And what we're trying to accomplish there is graduate organizations up so that as they become better with more capacity and more resources, that they qualify and look attractive for much larger opportunities, ultimately growing their businesses and growing the communities in which they live and work. So let's kind of start out with the national picture. the surveys that we have done and a fair bit of research over the last 6 months or so, really trying to put the finger on the number of XBEs that exist inside the U.S. That number is elusive, very difficult to try to get to, but appears to be just a bit over 23 million organizations that fit into this small, diverse, minority, veteran-owned business sector that we call XBE. And one of the interesting phenomenons across that 23 million plus organizations is that a very small number of them are certified. So that means that corporations that are out trying to find those organizations don't know where they are, so they don't recognize that they're a potential vendor. And that's a challenge, particularly with the focus of organizations today, that we need to address. One is to try to get people certified and try to make sure that they qualify either themselves or through joint venture or strategic alliance to be a creditable competitor to alternative suppliers for opportunities. So that's some of the things that we're going to chat about today. But really what we're trying to do is get more visibility to a very large percentage of the business ventures that are out in the market today. I know that in a recent poll that was done in South Carolina, that 20% of the population of South Carolina work for a small, diverse business. So that's 1 million people out of 5 million. So I suspect that trend probably holds across the country to a large degree. So in a recent survey of small businesses, a couple of things really kind of jumped to the front, and that was that of benefits and retaining or even attracting talent. So these are some of the things that we saw, but right after that is attracting new clients, being able to successfully deliver and be profitable in opportunities. So there are going to be some things that we get in and chat about along this way that I think will be interesting to the crowd and to the audience. Some of the things that we're going to kind of talk to, and I think really it's the concept of this two-sided bench. I think that for those that aren't certified, the question probably comes to mind of why would I certify and what's the benefit to me for that? What we're finding is that most corporations look to the certifying bodies to be able to tell them who's qualified to be able to respond to their RFP, RFQs, and be capable of awarding work to. So we see that certification, particularly in the large corporate environment, is almost a must-have. So that's why we kind of see that entering into this tiered level of bronze, silver, gold, platinum, that you just got to be certified if you're going to do work in the public sector, the non-public sector, the private companies and the larger corporations. So basically what we're seeing in all that is this graduation. What kind of work do I do? What kind of work do I want? And where am I trying to strategically grow my business to? So as we work from level to level, what's involved? What do I need to do? Who are the right kind of people that can help me do it? Can I do it myself? Do I need outside resources? Are there services that the government or trade associations might provide to help you kind of climb that ladder? So as we look into that bronze, what we're trying to do is encourage people to certify with their appropriate certification body. And there's a blue million of them, it seems, beyond the 5 that are most common, but there are state certifications and industry certifications, chambers of commerce, and a variety of different things, some that certify or some that just list an inventory. But really trying to understand what you're trying to accomplish and the group that you're trying to attract or pursue, and make sure that you're listed in that environment so they at least know that you're there. From that is being able to provide some level of financial justification or risk assessment. And there are a variety of these tools that are out there in the marketplace. This is a credit report, if you can imagine, for an individual, but this is really for companies. So being a part of D&B, if you're not part of that kind of organization, being able to produce a document or a set of documents that can provide organizations with a level of confidence that you have the wherewithal to be able to do the work. And then some kind of readiness assessment, making sure that you have the ability to do the things that are being asked in that corporation. And then, finally, trying to make sure that you have the capacity to do the work that you're bidding for. So if in fact an organization doesn't have the confidence that you have the quality, the capacity, the delivery schedule, and the desire to do the work, I think they tend to pass. So that's why this kind of bronze level includes these levels. Now, what's interesting is that it doesn't take a ton of time to do some of these things. What we've tried to do is break it out into segments so you can kind of see what's involved in each one of these levels of activity. There are a variety of ways to get support for this. Certainly, people have the options to do it themselves, but there are organizations like the Small Business Development Center out of the SBA. There are state organizations. There's chambers of commerce. Certainly, the NMSDC and WeBank and the other certifying bodies have got resources and tools to be able to go help do some of these things. So we want to encourage the audience to find out what resource is best for you, but to try to get yourself positioned, at least in that bronze level, to be able to kind of get noticed. We think that we can improve the opportunity for probability of sale by adding a couple of different levels. And that's adding a capability statement, really being able to clearly define what it is your organization does and wants to do, and align that with the mission and goals of the organization in which you're trying to serve, and then starting to provide some level of reference validation. So being able to provide 2 solid business references that an organization can call and validate and make sure that that you are what you represent. And again, we're showing the kind of hours, and it's a relatively insignificant jump, 6 hours of time, and there are some resources, both web-based and in these organizations that I spoke of earlier, that can help do some of those things. As we move from silver to gold, there's a couple of added things here. All the things that we've talked about above, but certainly adding to that a corporate strategy so an organization can feel comfortable that you know where you're at and where you want to go. A fairly significant business and financial assessment. There's some tools out there. You can find them online, or you can be facilitated through some consulting organizations, some mentioned before, or just look online to find them. But the world of being able to provide a little bit better handle on what's going on from a financial perspective, and then starting to look at the effectiveness of your marketing program, collateral, websites, social media, and the like. And then adding from this silver to gold perspective, adding some references so that you can demonstrate that you've got more logos that you've done work for. I think it's important to make sure that you're providing the references that are relevant to a particular provider. If, for instance, you're pursuing Target, you should probably have someone of a significant retail footprint that you've done work for, so that they can look at it and go, yeah, this is another national player. These guys would have the capability, would certainly understand the kind of work that we do and the support that we require. So what we see in this is, another added 20 hours plus to get that next jump. And then as we go from gold to platinum, is just adding a couple more things. It's really getting a little bit deeper into the marketing and messaging. Are we a sophisticated business, and do we portray ourselves that both digitally and in hard copy and in our activity in the community? Looking at scalability, not only are we capable and we have a quality and good price, but we can scale that, exponentially grow our business and retain our quality and our ability to deliver. So that sort of demonstration will become important to that. And of course, adding some more references that just enhance the confidence level that you got the ability to do the things that you need. The last thing is in this platinum level, and what we believe is that this is really the cream of that crop, and these are the people that are going to have a high probability of getting consideration and these corporate opportunities. what we have noticed in our pursuit or our dialogue with the corporations is that they are desperately trying to find growth. They're getting an enormous amount of pressure from their stakeholders, and I think even just it's the right thing to do, right? So beyond just wanting to do the right thing, getting a lot of pressure to bring on a more diverse supplier organization as well as their employers, and changing the complexion of their management teams and boards to reflect the communities in which they work and they live and they play. I think that there are an enormous amount of research and studies that have shown that this truly does bring about a significant change and receptivity from the buyer. So in that buyer looking at an organization that appears to be diverse, that they tend to follow and be loyal to that brand. So the last couple of things here are am I an organization that also is a diverse organization, both in my management teams and in my own supply chain? And if you can articulate that, then I think that you have the ability to almost kind of eat the dog food in which you make. So that's what that last element is really all about. So the things that that organizations must do to be successful, I think that is really all about making sure that you get certified, that the organization itself is positioned and well communicated of your capabilities, your pricing structure, and your ability to deliver, then be able to communicate your mission and vision so that an organization confidence level. Ultimately, find some solace that organizations are really looking to find success in their supplier diversity programs. They're being pushed by their stakeholders, and I think that they genuinely feel that they're better organizations when they do so. So there is some opportunity and light at the end of the tunnel. That the lackluster growth of the supplier diversity landscape over the last 2 or 3 decades is changing, and what we need to do is XBEs is step up to the challenge and be ready to bid and win and profitably deliver to that new business opportunity that's there. So as we cover and kind of move into the final phases of this particular service line micro, I want to thank you guys all for being on and listening to our content. We do have this XBE Thrive series. On a monthly basis, we cover kind of a high level broad topic. The next one is on August the 26th at 1 o'clock. I would encourage you to go to the Diversity Consortium .com website, and you can go to events and you can schedule for the next one. We'd love to have you at all if you're available to do so. And then also on a monthly basis, we drop down to micro topics, which are much more specific, a little deeper in nature, handling a lot of calls and questions and discussions. Certainly trying to drive a little deeper understanding of some of these more specific topics. You'll also find those on the website. You can find the schedule, register for that, and get a link to join. I'm going to pop up this last slide. If you have any questions, certainly our website is there at thediversityconsortium.com, and the phone number, feel free to give us a call. We'd love to answer any questions that you have. Thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to seeing you on the next XBE Thrive Series webinar. Thanks. Have a great day.